Another question, sort of change pace a little bit. This is one we have a guess, but I'm pretty stumped by this one. Why is the iPad with 3G $130 more? So my dad works in contract manufacturing, and so right after the iPad was announced, he called me up and he's like, I'm going to get one, it's going to be awesome. And he told me that the chips required, there's a GPS in the 3G one that's not in the normal iPad, the iPad Wi-Fi, and there is the 3G radio. About $10 to buy those. $130 markup?
All right, anyone who's not saying that I have, but I mean, anyone who's dealt with like releasing anything the FCC has to take a look at, there's a lot of fees and hurdles you can go through and time to spend to do that. I wouldn't say it's necessarily justifying $100 and something markup.
130.
Yeah, 130, but I mean, there's definitely problems you have to solve and money you have to spend.
So you can sort of amortize over, or not amortize, you can divide this across the entire
product line, right? The
Yeah.
entire product line.
Entire distribution. So the more you sell, the cheaper that is. Presumably problems though, you can sort of amortize over, or not amortize, you can divide those across the entire, entire distribution. So the more you sell, the cheaper that is. It's presumably some kind of a fixed cost. It's actually not FSC approved. It said that at the very end of their video. So that's probably why the 90-day lead time on
I
that.
think you have to think about what's the price point going to be when you buy this from an AT&T store. And they give you 2 years of service. And also you get the device for free.
Well, there's currently no subscription though. So right now it's an a la carte package, which is basically unprecedented in the US.
But if you subscribe, then the price is going to be lower. So they just sort of higher, I think,
Fixed cost. It's actually not FSC approved. It said that at the very end of the video.
Yeah, it's not.
So that's probably why the 90-day lead time.
I think you have to think about what's the price point going to be when you buy this from a AT&T store and they give you 2 years of service and all of a sudden you get the device for free.
There's currently no subscription. So right now it's an a la carte package, which is basically unprecedented.
Right, but if you subscribe, then your price point's going to be lower. So they had to start it higher, I think, so that when you're...
Do you think they're going to announce? So as announced, they're going to announce. They're going to announce.
But
On app pricing and just raise the question of whether the iPad might actually drive up iPhone app prices, just because, especially for ones that are really designed for the iPad, I think it's going to be difficult to offer your apps at 2 different price points, you know, on the iPad and iPhone, so it's possible it might actually drive up prices.
Now the application cost will be compared to the price of the book. And the price of the books on the Kindle whatever is like around $7.99 to $14.99, something like this right now. So I think this should drive the price of the apps up, fortunately for us, I guess, because it will be compared to the books now, and it's just text.
It's kind of like a laptop right now. And if my question is, will the same App Store model work, or people want to, get out of that and then can we install unsigned apps, or should Apple let developers reach their customers directly and not, always go through the App Store, or should they open up for unsigned apps, or basically the question is, does the current App Store model work for the iPad, or how it should change?
To the device, are people going to get upset on the tablet because they're trying to, they're competing with a netbook where you can install anything, or if they're competing with a netbook, then you can install anything on one of those. So does the App Store model break down? Are people going to get mad? Is there going to be a big jailbreak iPad market?
Yes, but I think that it's good to have a mediator, like a little balance check. I mean, like, would you, if you were buying music, would you want to buy my 13-year-old brother's GarageBand music? Like, I mean, think about that. Like, if he was able to upload his GarageBand music he made in like 3 hours, I mean, he's not a bad musician, but he's like 13, he made it in GarageBand, and if he put it in iTunes, would you want to buy that? Right? I mean, like, think about that. As developers, you guys are able to upload stuff to the web really, really frequently, easily, do A/B testing, all this stuff. But I mean, as other artists are, I think developers are artists, by the way. I think you guys should pat yourselves on the back for that. I think if you guys, if other artists have to go through these hoops to get things in a publishing environment, I think that it's a good thing to have this check and balance situation going on. But they're doing a lot to make it better, right? I mean, like, hey, look, think about that though. Like, would you want to buy my brother's his music? Like, think about that.
Okay, so going back to your question about the pricing, I think that the pricing of the iPad is driven mainly by marketing. I think that, if you see like where they're pricing each model, certainly what it costs them to add this, 32 gig, it's not the price that they're, extra they're charging. So I think that, the pricing is very carefully chosen, and the reason is because, for one thing, they want actually that people that are willing to pay for like the 3G, there is a product on that price range, right? And that's kind of like the most that they can charge for that specific feature. But I think that what they were very conscious is trying to drive the other end down as much as they could by just stripping no camera, nothing, no nothing. It's just like they're just the bare minimum that they can target. And I think that one of the major things here is that the price point makes this so appealing. I read this article where most of the people actually when they were like going through all the different features, the Apple stocks start going down until the moment that they announce it's going to be $500, it just like spike up. So I think that one of the biggest things is the price point is what makes the huge difference, because that makes this so affordable for so many people. And to the point that people were saying before about this killing, Kindle, killing the netbooks, killing all the stuff, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that what this is really doing is setting a price point. Now you cannot charge for a Kindle the same price. The Kindle DS, which sells for about the same price, that's not going to happen. So what we're going to be seeing is that suddenly a lot of these companies need to adjust their pricing points. For example, netbooks are going to be cheaper. Kindle, I think there is still a place for Kindle. There was comment here about the e-ink and all the stuff. I think that that's still like a huge, and like the distribution channel that Amazon have. That's not going to go away, but the price point is going to be different. So certainly, like from the business perspective, this is going to change a lot of different businesses and how the price point for each of these products.
Earlier today from one of my friends from school, and she was like, "Well, I wasn't going to buy an iPad, but then I saw the price, and I can actually afford it." She asked me, should I get one? And so I sort of get my spiel there, but I thought it was really interesting that people were like, well, it's going to be. Word on the street actually is that Apple told the Wall Street Journal $1,000. They planted that, and so that they could surprise everybody for the $500. Would not surprise me. I think it's pretty genius. But
the question you asked earlier, that would you be upset if you couldn't go to the, if you couldn't install your own applications, maybe? So I want to answer to that, because I think that worries me a little bit. Because a lot of good friends of mine who have a Mac or God forbid have a PC, they're waiting for this next best thing. And they are really looking forward to getting this, and look at the price point. Wow, this is just the dream made true. And now somebody going into that thinking they're getting a Mac for cheap will be disappointed, because now they suddenly will realize, wait a second, they can't do anything they want. They can only get a certain set of apps, and otherwise they have to jailbreak, and I know jailbreak doesn't work well all the time.
Say you buy a Mac. Sure, you can run quote-unquote anything, but you're really only running software that people find it worth their time to write. And if you ever try to monetize a desktop app, it's really difficult. Like you look at people, plenty of people on the iPhone are making more than Panic or Rogue Amoeba or any of those guys, and they have 3 Apple Design Awards apiece or 4 Apple Design Awards apiece, and like the salaries, it's so maybe will there be more applications actually on the iPad because people can actually monetize them for the first time.
With the iPhone, everybody says it's a closed platform, but we've got 140,000 apps available. Plus, if you want to do your stuff, turn it around every day, then you can build a web app, and presumably they'll work well on the iPad. Anybody can get a web app, right?
It's not the number of apps.
Yeah, but 140,000 apps, and I know the ones I have, they're great apps. I really love the apps I've got on the iPhone. Does anybody know, you guys know, is there going to be any multitasking?